So welcome, I guess, to the two of us. Yeah, I had this. I've been thinking about this podcast, and uh, I have an idea for some segments. And the first segment is called "How's your current status?" Or what's the quality of your consciousness in this moment?
What's the quality? Very good. I'm in a house. I have my own space, which I haven't had my own space for many months.
Mm.
So it's actually been quite relieving. Also, there's cats, which is very nice.
Oh, cats!
Well, sorry, there aren't cats. There's two excitations of the cat field in my awareness. Obviously, a cat is everywhere all at once.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but how does like being in a house and being around cats? What does it do to your quality of consciousness? Does it feel dreamlike? Do you feel like sharp, focused?
No, it's very down regulating. I haven't had privacy. I've just been like in a tree or something with a guy trying to stab me with a knife,
Mm.
and people like you know in half-built open toilets nearby. I haven't had just my own space. Any space that I've had has been like maybe even just one small room if I'm lucky.
Mm.
I've got a whole house now.
Yeah, this is some learnings from being a nomad for like 8, 9, 10 months.
Yeah, I didn't ever realize how much it affected me. I said, well, I don't need a place, but uh, yeah, the privacy thing, the just being in I mean, you're in a house, it must be lovely.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be for a while. Maybe I would appreciate it more then.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
But you get a feeling when you go into your house, you get a feeling like, ah,
yeah, I think for the time being, I'm avoiding it as much as possible.
avoiding what?
My house.
Are you avoiding, are you in your house?
Yes.
You haven't done a
Yeah.
very good
I
job of avoiding it.
No, but I arrived here like 2 minutes before I called you.
Ah, yeah. When you go back to it every day, well, I always felt a feeling of, get in the door. I can relax. Maybe you'd make a great nomad if you don't have that feeling.
I maybe I should be. I have the sense of that. Uh, okay, now you ask the question back about the quality of consciousness.
How's the question phrased?
Like what's your like current quality of consciousness?
What's your
I'm trying
current
to
quality?
find two.
What's your current quality of consciousness?
uh, Quite awake, entertained, um, slightly anxious. Like I think the entertainment has to do with your present, and the anxiousness is like, were you for real when you said we were recording? Are we releasing this? Uh, yeah, but I feel sort of sharp and present and unprepared. Uh, that's There's a slight sort of panicky, vibrating feeling to reality. I have an idea of what prepared feels like, and this is not it.
Oh, you don't want to be
But
prepared.
but
That's a
that's
disaster.
yeah,
Just be
that's
authentic.
yeah, yeah. Uh, all right. I've planned out this whole conversation with you about the podcast before it started, um, and this conversation might just be the podcast. I thought the title for this first episode, if this is an episode, I think it is intentions. Uh, and I think I'd open with sharing like my I think there's a like threefold intention for me in like doing this. One is having a reason to talk to you. And when I tried talking to you a couple of days ago, our first video conversation ever, I noticed this urge to like grab a book and write down most of what was said. And it's like, if I'm writing down everything, I might as well just record the conversation. And I think the third, so it's a grabby kind of feeling. I like want to document your existence and our connection. And the third intention is I want to like try to do something public. Like it doesn't matter if no one listens, but just finding sort of my public voice and sort of recording something and like feeling like myself while being aware that my patients, colleagues, bosses, family, children, myself in the future, partners, like everyone in my life should be able to, or like I shouldn't, like if it's in the public, it's in the public. And this idea has scared me, and I think I'm ready to sort of do something which I feel connected to and which has a public quality. So this is like a step in that direction. And yeah, I think it's like having you around, documenting your existence, and doing something publicly. I'm sure I'm sure I could find more intentions, but those are the ones that I'm sure are there. And I'm curious about your side of this question, because I think you just like went along with the suggestion, or like, do you have any? my experience was you just went along with the suggestion. What intentions do you come to this space with?
Yeah, so this is what happens when you fell through the floor of Ista. I've transcended intentions. I just surrendered to the mystery. This is definitely part of, I mean, everything is part of the mystery, but this is a clear part of the mystery. I've surrendered to it.
Yeah, so you would describe your current state of sort of interacting with the world as just like complete surrender.
Complete surrender? No. I would say, I mean, a complete surrender. That sounds a bit frightening. Well, that's the nature of surrender. But I've surrendered. Before I was surrendered, someone asked me, what do you surrender to? And I said, the first two are life. Well, the first one is life. Which is surrendering to, I'm not going to try and control the world around me. Things come into my field, they go out of my field. The next surrender is love, which is, surrendering to that driving force, that little voice inside that's animating. And then there's surrender to the mystery, which is just like, it's not even fucking around with like, oh, love. And it's just, it can't be put into words. It's not even like, oh yeah, I want to be in the world and I want to use my love to raise people up and empower people. It's like even beyond that, like non-attachment to that. Because I was very attached to the soul path before Peru in December. I was very attached to the soul path. Now I let go of that. That's why I fell
following the soul path. Following the soul path is different from surrendering to the mystery.
It's not, well, it could be that trying to follow the soul path without surrendering to the mystery is actually just a form of bypass. It could be the true soul path is surrendering to the mystery.
There's this like parallel process. Like I'm listening to you with my understanding, and then I'm trying to listen from the perspective of like 5 of my closest friends, and I notice they have questions. And some of the questions are like, who are you, and what are you doing, and how, and like, do you have a name or several, and how do you relate to those? How do you currently answer the question, who are you?
Well, that is a difficult question. Who are you? The other day, someone asked me that, and I said I was a shard of void manifested into soul, embodied into flesh. But this is a bit of a pretentious answer. I mean, I'm fundamentally no one, and also everything and everyone.
That's
maybe the most authentic answer. I'm no one. I'm just a voice. This is the voice in your head. This is your perception. You don't realize that question is extremely charged.
I know.
I'm not going to give too much away, but on level 2, that is an extremely charged question.
Yeah, I mean, like outside of any frame of reference, it's a difficult question. Like a lot of books have been written about it.
Well, indeed. And I had an experience the other day. Sorry. Someone asked me, "Where are you from?" So I said, "I'm from the universe." And then she said, "Can you be more specific?" I said, "Well, the planet Earth." And she kept asking. And then she got very frustrated and she said to my friends, "Who is this guy?" It's very interesting. She hadn't asked who I was. She'd asked where I was from, whatever that means. And she felt that if I said, "I'm from Britain," she would know who I was. She could be like, this guy is a Brit. This guy is an English, or this guy is whatever. She was trying to pin an identity on me.
You successfully resisted.
Of course, yes. She didn't like it. It's interesting. It made her uncomfortable. I never realized why people ask this question, "Where are you from?" Because it's like, where am I from? I'm from the universe. But if someone can label you, it's a first way of labeling you. And they can be like, this guy is a Norwegian. He's a Norwegian. Now I know what he is. I can have this chess piece in my mind.
Yeah, now I know what species.
Well, yeah, it's like that.
An Italian is like a different species from an American.
Well, indeed. But it's just an identity. It's not even like you have to behave differently to the person, but it's just, I can now conceptualize this person. When they were just a soul, I can't see a soul, so it's just like a blank.
I hear cat noises. I feel they're contributing tremendously.
Okay, the cats have this thing where they demand permission to be fed. Like, okay, let's go. Let's go to where your food is. Yeah?
The cats have this thing where they demand permission to be fed.
So when it's feeding time, they come and meow, and they're very insistent, and you have to follow them and go to the food bowl. But I already put food there. But they won't eat until I come and watch. I don't really understand, because some kind of Pavlovian response. They can't eat until I walk up to the food bowl, but there's already food.
Yeah, but they demand permission to eat.
I've never seen this before.
I think I've heard about the phenomenon. It's known in the cat field.
Is it?
Yeah, I've come across the idea. I think not from you. Yeah. I a thought that I've been subjected to around the idea of who are you is like I mean there's the verbal answer, like giving something wordy to the mind, and then there's the physical answer, which is like this thing here, which is I would say like more precise in a way.
Is that you there?
This is it's my like current container. Right, I control this container a little bit more than the bigger container that I'm in, but I control that one as well. And then there's an even bigger one called like a city, and I control that one a little bit. And then like so there's less and less control. I still don't like fully control this stuff. Like if I damage it, it like repairs itself. It's quite cool, but someone said like like you a mirror tells you like what you look like at like the distance of a meter, but if you move like 200 meters away, you look like a house, and if you move some miles away, you look like a city, and if you move like thousands of miles away, you look like a planet. And it's the same you. And if you go like really close, like microscope distance, like hey, like look a bunch of cells, and for some reason I would think like, oh, like the eyes, that's where I am. Like if you look at my belly button, like that's not me, that's my belly button. I mean, there's something with the eyes and the soul, but I really enjoy the thought of like, yeah, at the right distance, I look like a planet. If you come from an alien civilization and like, oh, hey, there's this like sentient being, and like he looks round and blue. And I'm that.
Yeah, Bruce Lyon would call this access to the void.
The like seeing yourself as the planet.
Yeah, the dissolution of identity.
Yeah. I think I asked you a lot of questions. Who are you? What are you doing? How are you doing it? I think we got to the bottom of who are you, but the cats demand more permission.
The other cat, there's two cats, and this cat also wants permission to be fed, I think.
Yeah. I'm giving the listeners some space to breathe, to feel. While Soulfish is giving his cats permission to eat.
Okay, I think the both cats have got permission now. Hopefully, I mean I can't really tell them apart. Maybe it was the same cat twice, but it was the same. Of course, it was the same cat. There's only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like every sort of instance of cat. Each of its sort of what do you call it, like alter egos need a separate permission to eat. What are you doing? I mean, I think you answered that one as well. Like you're doing a podcast, and also you're surrendering to the mystery. I think that sounds like enough.
Or surrendering to the mystery is like a lack of doing more than anything.
Would you say you're doing less than someone sort of lying down on a couch and claiming to do nothing? They're still resisting
Yes.
the mystery.
If they've made
It's
an
hard work.
identity about doing nothing, they might be doing quite a lot. What? What? What?
I mean, there was an attempt to name this podcast "Dude, Where's My Soul." We also considered the name "The Catfield" for reasons we might or might not get back to. There's a cat in the background of me, and cats are like dominating your end. I think the Catfield is like speaking quite clearly. It's making itself heard.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's like, you know, when you do a big ritual and suddenly there's like thunder and lightning. When like cats
Yeah.
start meowing at you, it's a sign there's energy's moving in the cat field.
Are you deliberately vibrating the Catfield?
I'm not deliberately vibrating the cat field. The cat field's very sensitive, though.
It is absolutely. I mean, I'm guessing it like the Catfield is always vibrating, but do you what's your relation to the Catfield?
I don't know. I'm quite strongly in the cat field at the moment. There's two cat waves quite close by. I mean, like at this very moment, I'm trying to kind of calm the cat field. You've got like a cat antenna behind you, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. There's I don't know
Lucky
how
girl.
this object came into my life, and I don't know what's up with the tail. And what does it mean when a cat when the tail sort of telescopically extends upwards? What is the cat trying to say?
It just looks like a cat transmission to me, like it's transmitting cat waves.
with the antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's succeeding. I mean, until this conversation, I didn't know you had ever had access to cats, and I, I mean,
Yeah.
I think I've been in a place with cats with you, but this is somehow different. Like you suddenly live in a house. I don't know how you managed, and it's yours in some sense apparently. When did you meet these cats?
Yeah,
Is this
actually,
a
I'm in the
podcast about your
house
cats?
through manipulation, purely through manipulation of the cat field. I've got myself a house. This cat shamanism is a whole new thing. So I'm living in a now very valuable house in London with a full, let's see, well, it's got 2 bedrooms, kitchen, it's got everything. I've got the whole place to myself because I'm nominally looking after 2 cats. Because every day these cats need permission to eat. You can leave the food for them. They don't eat all the food at once. They're perfectly capable of controlling their appetite. So you can just, but they need permission to eat every day, and that's why I'm here.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, the Catfield has recruited you for sort of mysterious Catfield purposes, and you're exactly where you should be.
They're like your cat as well. They're black and white.
Mm. Yeah. How before you um, before you like dropped all intention and surrounded to the mystery, what was your previous relationship to intention?
Yeah, my intentions at that point were aligned with the soul path. So connecting to the void, finding my soul purpose, entering the void, coming back out through soul, back into personality, transmitting.
This is the answer to the question. What was your intention?
This was my intention
what
before I surrendered to the mystery.
Yeah, but what was your relationship
Oh, okay.
to intention? Like some people view themselves as a container for their intentions. And some
People
have
kept
very
telling me I had to have intentions, so I tried to say something to make them happy. I've never been happy with intentions. Ever since I read the Tao Te King, I've never been happy with intentions.
Since you read
The Tao Te King. The Tao Te King is a book written, I don't know, several thousand years ago, which is the basis of much Eastern philosophy. And it's not very long. I read the whole thing the other day again. And it really explains pretty well. It really explains pretty well what's happening to me, actually. And one big thing is be without expectations.
I think I puzzled together when I was I think like 6, 7, 8 that like I don't want to be miserable in life, and like having expectations seems like a great way to, like, you can only ever be what's the word?
Disappointed.
When disappointed if you had an expectation. So if I don't have any expectations, I can never be disappointed. And this felt like some kind of armor, and it didn't work out fully in practice. But I think the idea was good, and this book might be about some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a feeling that like Eastern traditions. I mean, I don't really know much other than like a little bit of Buddhism, but I have a feeling that the Eastern traditions are like much more in tune with modern neuroscience than like the similar things from sort of hundreds to thousands of years old from the West. That's not a question, and you have this thing where if I say stuff, you just listen. It feels like a very loud way of telling me I'm part of a conversation and maybe I should act like it, or you just enjoy not following the script. Or I enjoy What's the is there anything you want to say about intention?
Intention.
You taught me something valuable. You taught me something valuable about intention once. I'd been in a situation with I think there were women there, and I was like a little bit miserable because things had not gone according to my plan at all. And you kind of you asked me a little bit about it, and then you kind of scolded me and said, but there's no wonder like you're like this went badly, like you're not clear about what your intention is. Like you walked into a situation and your intention was very unclear to you and you couldn't communicate it, and then it's like hard to get contact off the ground if it's unclear to everyone present, like why are you here, why are you talking to me? And this was a very useful lesson.
I don't remember, and I'm not sure if I would stand by that or not. Are you sure I didn't say what you want? Your desires?
Yeah, it
It might have been desires and boundaries.
I'm thinking like walking up to a stranger, like desires and intentions are overlapping.
Yeah, if you just want to use the word to mean that. But then intention is something you're trying to manifest. Whereas a desire is just Yeah, it's like what you want. So I might go up to someone, I might have multiple desires, and some of those desires might be a bit far-fetched. And so I wouldn't call those desires intentions.
Yeah. The intention is like, here's what I'm trying to make happen, to make into reality. And the desire is like, here's like, it would be nice if this happened at some point.
Yeah, desires are not connected to reality. Whether or not it can happen doesn't change the desire.
But it should change the intention.
Yeah, using it. Yeah, there's not much of an intention. Yeah, well, I mean, we just talked about the English language, but yeah, an intention is you should have a route, some route to succeed with an intention. You're actively trying to manifest it.
So, yeah, but you've given up on the entire concept, because I mean we kind of we got here because I was trying to ask you, like, do you have any intentions for this podcast? And you're like, it just happened, like everything does. Yeah. But are there, like, what's your sense of ethics? I mean, if I was like, hey, let's go like destroy infrastructure and make people's lives miserable, I don't think you would go along with that. Like, you have boundaries, and I'm sure, like, yes, I mean, you have boundaries and you have desires, but you can keep those separated from intention.
I'm animated by love. Destroying infrastructure, generally, depending on the context, in general, destroying infrastructure isn't motivated by love.
If how do you feel about the idea that like any human action is motivated by either love or fear? Those are the two only sort of root motivations.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. I mean, yeah, I mean that's a way of modeling it. I mean,
it's a very low resolution. It's a very low resolution model, but I think it nails something.
Yeah, it can be expansiveness or contractiveness, or you could say that everything is motivated by love. But when people have a lot of personality, when people have a lot of patterns and stories, that they tend to get confused, and then they act in a contracted way.
Yeah, I found myself in the recent year or so, like, moving ever more towards this language of like expansion and contraction, more than sort of good or bad emotions, like good or bad days, like happy, there's sad, like anger can be like wonderfully like liberating, or it can be like really contracting. And I'm wondering, like, how have I studied psychology for 6 years at least, and not been presented with like this model of viewing? Like, it strikes me as very sort of body centric. Like, you can see in people's bodies, are you sort of open, available, interfacing with the world, paying attention, or are you sort of closing down and contracting into yourself? It seems like such a sort of fundamental like parameter of consciousness, or of sort of being in the world. And I found it when I was 34. It's weird to me.
It comes from Rex.
Uh, uh, Yeah, I've like heard it from other places as well, but I mean, I don't have a good view of like how much of my current worldview sort of has been flowing from Rex somehow.
I got really into it when I was studying Rex.
Hmm.
He's really into that. He's really into the expansiveness.
Yeah. How does one study Rex?
Just go to a lot of his trainings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen to what he says. Give it a go.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think I squeezed him dry now though. I got a lot out of it. Time to look for some new teachers. Not that I like nothing bad about him. He's really good, but like I did like get a lot of what he had to say.
Hmm. You got the download.
Yeah.
Hmm. Mm. Is there like let's say there are listeners to this thing. Uh, is there any kind of experience you would like them to have?
No.
Or let's say like if we let's say like uh, people listen to this thing and it changes their lives somehow. Do you have any preference for the direction of the change?
No.
No, you uh, you don't care
I don't want
if
things for
sort of.
myself. I certainly don't want things for other people.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing. This is the thing I do a lot. I'm very confused about where my boundaries are. Where do I stop and where do other people begin? And I'm like sometimes catching other people uh, doing it and like, hey, that and but I also do it a lot myself.
So this is interesting. So in ISTA, we talk about boundaries. It's like this is what I want, this is what I don't want. That's my boundary. And then if you really think about it enough, it gets really esoteric. Like everything is only exists because it's defined by boundaries. But then they have sovereignty, and you have some type of sovereignty. But in School of Consent, they call boundaries limits, and what they call limits is exactly the same as what is called boundaries. But boundaries for them are the edge of your domain, which is like your sovereignty. But they go into much more detail about what it means to have a domain. So everything in your
Okay.
domain, if I get this right.
I'm not completely
Oh yeah.
familiar with the term sovereignty in this context. Do you have like an
Well,
example of?
I'll explain domain and then you'll get an idea of what sovereignty is.
Okay.
So everything in your domain, you have a right and a responsibility.
Mm.
So things in your domain are your body, your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, your boundaries, I think. So you have a right and a responsibility for those things. And then
And so things like apartment, not part of the domain in this sense.
there's an interesting question. I think it's an interesting question. I mean, in some senses, your apartment is in your domain, your property. It's your right and your responsibility. No one else can just come into your apartment. If assuming you own the apartment, well, no one else can just come into it, but also you need to look after it. So maybe it is in your domain. I mean, this is an interesting question. So the example I was just going to give was when people say, hey, do you want to come for ice cream with me? It's like desire smuggling. It's like, I want to go for ice cream, but I'm trying to put it into your domain that you want.
Mm.
You want to go for
Mm.
ice cream.
Desire smuggling.
But
Yeah.
this is connected to what you were saying. about you were you were wanting other people's experiences. So that's in their domain.
Yeah, I mean, I think my sort of defensive reaction would be like, I'm talking about if I can sort of help people move towards love, freedom, power, autonomy, I think that would be a good thing.
Interesting.
So, and uh, yeah, I think I haven't yet like integrated this. Like, if I move towards like love, freedom, power, autonomy, it will empower the people around me. I'm still doing it, aren't I? Yes, I am.
Well, they have to move.
There's
If they're going to move, they have to be the ones that move. You can't move them.
hmm,
And wanting to help is a dangerous game.
yeah, yeah. Talk about that.
How wanting to help is a dangerous game.
Yeah.
Good question. I'm trying to put it into words and explain what the problem with trying to help people.
I've spent a lot of Christmas sort of being angry with my father for always wanting to help people. So
Yeah, there
but
you go.
I'd like to hear it in your words.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but what I know is the more expansive, aligned way to behave is to step out of the way. Maybe you're a channel,
What's
maybe you're a transmission, but you're not. You
uh,
can't do something for someone else.
that first sentence again? It was a little bit quick for me.
Step out of the way.
Hmm. The full sentence.
I forgot what it was. You might be a transmission. You might be a channel.
Hmm.
But you can't do something for someone else that they've got to do. That's another wheel of consent thing. I think my dad told me this. Like his dad would buy him like these model plane kits, and then his dad would help him, and he'd make the whole model plane kit.
Hmm.
Like being aligned, being kind of called to be there in supporting people to grow is no bad thing. But like,
But
there's something
there's the
meddling about
supporting
trying to
people to
help.
grow is the
It's like it's like you're grabbing the steering wheel.
hmm.
No one can learn to drive if you grab the steering wheel.
How do I know if I'm supporting or like doing it for them?
Well, who's doing it?
Hmm. Yeah, is it like whose intention are we acting from?
Yeah, it
Because
could be.
I mean, I work as a psychologist, and I think like the physical setup is the same. Like, I sit there talking to someone, and uh, if it goes well, they leave the session sort of more empowered or less confused, or there's more sort of clarity or agency or something. And if I do the wrong thing, they're like they could just be sort of more sad or more scared or more hopeless. But it could also be like, this was really useful. I need to come back to this guy because he fixes things. I'm trying to find that what's the quality of. I think there is a way of helping people, and they're very thankful and happy, but you have taken them a step away from growth.
Interesting. Yeah, like it depends, like
So I
transactional
think that
relationship dependency.
yeah, I think there are situations where uh, I think I'm helping, and they think they're being helped, and yet like what goes on is like ultimately not very helpful.
Like a cult or something.
Yeah, what do you call a cult with two people?
Abusive relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
Codependency.
Mm.
Enabling.
Mm. Sometimes I wonder, like, am I am I I mean I've been somehow like put in a position with a lot of power, and it's a kind of it's a kind of power that I enjoy, in the sense of like when it says psychologist on my door, when people come into my office, they can like sit down and start crying and talk, and like I haven't done anything. It's the power of the title on the door. Like the title is like doing something for me, and I'm like, whew, that's like a lot of interpersonal work I don't even have to do. We can like start from level 7 and just move into something meaningful from there. But there's also I mean there's a dark side to the power. Like it requires me to be quite wise, and I find that I have like a lot of knowledge, but not a lot of wisdom, and I feel like this is also like society's problem. Like I have in this like little black rock that sometimes lights up. I have like all of the knowledge available, uh, but I don't feel a lot wiser. And in my quest from wisdom, I've like found you.
Oh,
It's probably like almost as misguided as like all the other attempts I've made, but you
this is
you're
two-person cult.
yeah, like how I'm putting I'm like giving you some kind of weird power, or I'm doing this action where I'm uh, giving your words a lot of weight. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I'm
Yeah.
calling myself selfish, but I stopped calling myself selfish because you thought I was selfish.
Yeah, it's an easy mistake to make.
I don't know. It's nice. Maybe, yeah. It's nice to be seen. I do worry that you do project onto me that I'm like a guru or something. But this is, I mean, this co-creation of this podcast is seems brilliant. You know, there's really something here.
Hmm. Hmm. How do we? I mean, there's a lot of space here as well for like something like unhealthy happening. How do we recognize that like what happens here is like useful somehow?
Oh, I'm not concerned about that.
No. You feel like a riddle. Like I'm trying to. I mean, everyone has this interface. Uh, I mean, I hear rumors that you do a great like evil artificial intelligence chatbot impersonation. It's maybe not for this episode, but I'd like to interface with this other being. Would you consent to to this other
Yeah,
being appearing on the
yeah, we could
podcast?
do rogue AI. Yeah,
Rogue AI, because like I think it has a different interface than your current I mean, that's the difficult thing about personality. Like you can't quit it completely, but you could do a sort of a bare bones thing. I feel like you're I'm thinking about MS-DOS for some reason. That feels rude. Yeah. There's something about like patiently waiting for a prompt, and for a sort of well-formed question instead of sort of waving around the cursor and like, oh, when I mouse over this, like some stuff pops out, and then there's like this, oh, have you like updated your antivirus thing? Like MS-DOS doesn't do that. It just waits until you know what you're asking it, and then it provides some sort of answer. Yeah. I have this like one metric for I do all of this idealization of people. I find someone that I kind of just decide like I'm getting good vibes from you. There's like something to get here. I'm going to like ask you questions and listen and give a lot of weight to what you say. And when I do this, you could say the strangest things, and I will make them make sense. This is, I think, how cults work, and this is how abusive relationships work. And it's also like a big part of my quest for wisdom. So I'm trying to find another metric, and the metric I find, or one thing I found is, if I get something from someone, and I give it on to someone else, and they find it sort of specifically useful, they can make changes in their life that they wanted to make for some time. Like if it doesn't require that you're in the room with your aura, if I can just say your words to someone else, and there's still like some potential in them, then it's like, okay, there's something here. I found some of these things from like various sources, and I noticed like this works, or I think I noticed that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm already sort of quoting you out in the world. Usually not with your name behind it. I think we will do the closing segment now.
Okay. What's the closing segment?
I haven't. Let me check the list of segments. I think it's the energetic postcard. I mean, I kind of I don't know how long your stay in the sort of current Catfield intensity. Have you been given a length of time that you will give these cats permission to eat?
6th of January, which point I'll be entering the sheep field. I'm going to Wales.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so it might be the only episode from the Catfield.
Well, you use the Catfield is everywhere all at once, all the time.
Yeah, or like the current Catfield intensity. It's quite
the
intense
Catfield intensity
where you are.
It's a pretty intense Catfield right here. Yeah.
So because I mean you have this nomadic lifestyle, or at least you've had, and it doesn't seem to be changing. And you say you like usually when you travel somewhere, you like to instead of going straight to sort of an intense training, you like to sort of to stay in a farm or with a friend or like get a feeling for the land before entering sort of these intense spaces. Um, and the segment like the energetic postcard is like give me the current. Um, I mean, I could be asking like, "Oh, how is London?" And you could say like, "Oh, it's like rainy, it's noisy, like that. Is like the physical characteristics. I want the energetic characteristics with as little reference to the physical reality as possible."
Oh, well.
So, what's the sort of the energetic postcard from your current location?
No, it's very nice. It's just been Christmas. Everyone's quite relaxed actually. I guess maybe there was a peak at Christmas of excitement. Everyone's seen their families and stuff,
Hmm.
and all of the big like rush of Christmas is over. London's always a bit grim, but yeah, I've actually felt a pretty nice feeling of peace, and especially in this place. It's been so nice to have my own place.
Hmm. Hmm. Sounds sounds nice.